there are three things. The first thing is talent. You can't make Gary Elekes taller than he is. I mean, I'm 5'6" when I'm on stilts, and that's what I'm going to be because that's DNA. So I've been given some other gifts. One of them is not height. So you can call me follically challenged as well. So my parents were gracious enough to give me the DNA that said you're going to be U-pattern bald. So it is what it is. Now I can influence that through number 3. I can control my technique and put some hair plugs in here if I want to. But number 1 is my DNA. This is what I have been given. Therefore, I have to develop myself to be the very best Gary that I can be. What I need you to do is decide what it is that you want to become. And most people really don't sit down and actually think through that. They don't really have a life plan. They don't have what we call a personal achievement plan. I've heard Wally talk many times. He calls it a prosperity plan. You can call it anything you want. They're all good names. The main issue is that you actually sit down and plan and think about what you want for yourself, your family, and what your interests are. And until you actually physically decide to make the transition out of, well, that's a good idea, I'd really like to do that, to that's a good idea, I'd really like to do that, now I got to figure out how to do it. That's the difference between the person who takes action and the person who just talks about it. So mentally, if you go back to that section on the slide, the B there is what we call the 3 Ds, and you should write these down. The first D is the desire to change. That's the desire for you to adjust whatever you're doing today as a habit in order to influence what you want tomorrow. You can't keep doing the same stuff that you're doing today and expect a different set of results. The cliche of that's the definition of insanity is true. So that is an important component. The desire to change is something that is not necessarily wired into people. You have to physically change what your habits are, and that's tough, but it's something that you can do, and I'll teach you exactly how to do that. The second D is the discipline to physically do the work. You can't lose weight and keep eating 100 donuts in a day. It's not going to happen. So if you want to change the way your weight structure is set up, you're going to have to change your diet. There's a cliche that says in fitness, abs are made in the kitchen, meaning that you can't outrun your fork. No matter what you do, you can't outrun your fork. You have to control your diet first. 80% of fitness is proper diet. 20% is what you do in the gym. So no matter what you do, the discipline to adjust what you're doing has to be a part of this discussion. So the third D is the dedication to your craft. Now most of you are fantastic technicians. Most of you can fix most anything. In fact, you've probably forgotten more how to fix than I have in my entire body. The thing about it is, it's not about whether or not you fix the machine, it's whether or not you learn how to fix the customer. So that's a skill set that we need to make sure that you learn, that we put in place. And so if you don't currently have that skill set, that's one of those desire to change, discipline to do it, and the dedication to your craft. So I'm going to give you a series of steps inside of this whole process where we're talking about, and it says there's technique. That's where number 3 is. I can control what happens in life if I have the proper technique. You see the Olympics, these little Bulgarian guys that are about my height, they're probably quite a bit more physically muscular because they've spent enough time in the gym to build up those muscles, but they're basically 180-pound midgets, if you will. And what they're doing is they're lifting 500 kilograms, sort of 700, 800 pounds, and they're deadlifting and they're using clean and jerk, and they're using the proper technique. What they're doing is almost unfathomable. I can't even move the bar, but they're the same size, but what they've done is they've put the work in, they've put the discipline in to train their muscles, they've dieted correctly, and they've had a coach, plus they've videotaped themselves under specific conditions so that they see themselves and they understand the technique on how not only just to move the bar, but to lift that thing, clean and jerk it, put it up here, or press it over top of your head. Now, that sounds like a drastic example. What we're talking about is basically changing the structure of how you view your own life and whether or not you want to put together a personal prosperity plan or whether or not what I call the personal achievement plan. It's that individual platform for you sitting down and saying, hey, this is what I want out of life. This is what I'm interested in. Whatever that is, I have to put together a roadmap for success. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. I can't make you do it. You own the 3 Ds, and you own your talent. What I can support you with is number 3, the technique. Most assuredly.